the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
We now have some info on how many primetime games the Chicago Bears will play this season. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. As you guys may already know, the new schedule for the National Football League and our Chicago Bears will be released on May 14th. And Bears fans, as always, I am super pumped up. Even though the Chicago Bears have disappointed us year in and year out, we have the same excitement going into these new seasons. I feel like there's going to be so much more excitement about this Bears team, especially after all the moves Ryan Poles has made this offseason to upgrade this roster. Caleb Williams going into year 2. Obviously, Ben Johnson's first year as the Bears head coach and the hype that he brings from the success he had in Detroit. A lot of Bears fans, including myself, are hoping that this year the Chicago Bears actually go out there and put up more wins and hopefully push for the NFL playoffs as soon as this year. But there's also a lot of Bears fans and NFL fans around the world wondering how many primetime games the Chicago Bears will actually land this season, now with Ben Johnson as the head coach and, of course, with the hype around Caleb Williams as well. And Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune actually offered some insight in his recent column. He said based on the information that he has heard around the league, he expects the Bears to land 4 primetime games with a high probability of getting flexed into more if they have early success. He said the NFL will unveil the 2025 schedule on Wednesday, May 14th. And my guess is the Bears will be scheduled for four night games. Of course, if they play well, more can be added through the league's flexible scheduling system. And when we look at last year, the Chicago Bears only had 3 primetime games. Of course, you have to understand that there was really no hype with the Chicago Bears besides having Caleb Williams as the number 1 overall pick, but we still had Matt Eberflus coming back as head coach, even though we all knew that he was the lame duck head coach for the Chicago Bears and in the National Football League. But even though the Chicago Bears haven't proved anything and they haven't had a winning season in a while, since it's been since 2018, since the Chicago Bears have had a winning season in the National Football League, it makes all the sense in the world why the National Football League wants to see the Chicago Bears on primetime. And once again, 4 primetime games is a lot of night games for a team that hasn't had a winning season or hasn't had any success or hasn't won a playoff game in a very long time. Once again, it makes a lot of sense why the NFL is pushing more primetime games for the Bears. Once again, Caleb Williams going into year 2 and the hype that he has with what Ryan Poles has surrounded him with. Obviously, Ben Johnson at head coach off the success he had in Detroit. All the moves Ryan Poles has made in the offseason down to fixing the offensive line with Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, and Jonah Jackson. Of course, with the defensive line with Grady Jarrett, Dayo Dangbo, and obviously the NFL draft as well with selecting Colston Loveland in round 1 and then Luther Burden in round 2 to give Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson this offense even more weapons to work with. So there's a lot of excitement around the Chicago Bears, and we've seen this movie before where the Bears have had so much excitement. They've put all the right pieces in place. And they go out and lay an egg every single year. They've always found a way to disappoint us Bears fans. And that's why sometimes it's hard to be optimistic about the Bears going into a new season. And I know we've kind of preached as content creators before the same old story that, Ryan Poles has put all the pieces in place. They finally have the coach in place. They're going to have a good season. They're finally going to have a winning season. They're going to go back to the playoffs. It's going to be a good year for the Chicago Bears. But I think those times in the past, we have always been false. But I think now, and even though nothing's guaranteed, we're looking at a very tough schedule for the Bears. But I think when we look at this season, going into this new season for the Bears, I think we can finally say that for once on paper, Ryan Poles has finally put all the right pieces in place. You got the hot ticket at head coach in Ben Johnson. I understand he's a first-year head coach, but when you look at the success he had in Detroit, giving Caleb Williams an offensive-minded head coach that can put him in the best situation to succeed. You finally feel like you have the right head coach in place. And then you look at the staff that Ben Johnson has compiled as well, and that also gets you pumped up about the overall coaching staff for this Bears football team, not just Ben Johnson at head coach and OC. Of course, you look at the moves that Ryan Poles has made to surround Caleb Williams with the right protection up front, more special weapons on the outside in Colson Loveland and Luther Burden. And then also the defensive side of the football as well, where that also gets you excited about the possibility of what the Chicago Bears can do going into this season. So I know in the past we have said the same stuff over and over again, and the Bears continue to disappoint, but this year does feel different going into this new year, just based off the fact of what Ryan Poles was able to accomplish this offseason for the Bears, along with bringing Ben Johnson in as the new head coach. So that's why it doesn't surprise me whatsoever that the NFL wants to see more primetime games from the Chicago Bears football team, even if us Bears fans are kind of like, well, we need to see it to believe it first. But with all the additions that Ryan Poles has made this offseason, it makes all the sense in the world. But the real question about these primetime games, and the question I want to ask you guys on today's episode, is who do you guys want to see the Bears play on primetime this season? Let me know down below in the comment section. Some games that I would personally love to see in primetime for the Bears this season is obviously one, Bears at Commanders. And we all remember the heartbreaking Hail Mary from Jaden Daniels, the Tyreek Stevenson antics. And I would love for Caleb Williams and the Bears to go into Washington and get their much-deserved revenge over Jaden Daniels and the Commanders in dominating fashion. We all know that's going to be a hot-ticket game because of the way that Jaden Daniels played and winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, and then obviously beating out Caleb Williams for the Offensive Rookie of the Year reward, even though Jaden Daniels clearly had the better season than Caleb Williams. But I still think that would be a big game for Williams and the Bears to go in with how that game ended last year and get the revenge on the Commanders. Of course, Bears at Lions, possibly being on Thanksgiving again. It will be Ben Johnson's first time as the new Bears head coach going back to Detroit, where he came from. And I think that's going to be an obvious primetime game for the Bears. The Bears seem to always play on Thanksgiving, which I don't like because, just dating back to last year on how that game ended. And I know it's a different coaching staff, but it seems to always ruin my Thanksgiving when the Bears lose in Detroit to the Lions. And then another underlining game on primetime that I would love to see is the Cowboys at Bears. And people are probably like, the Cowboys? Matt Eberflus is now the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. So it would be the return of Matt Eberflus. Can you imagine the boos that Matt Eberflus would get? And he's going to get no matter what, whether it's prime time or not, coming back for the first time as the DC of the Cowboys. I think that would be a fun primetime matchup, but I'm not saying it has to be Sunday night or Monday night football. It can be even a Thursday night football game, but I feel like that game would be fun to have as a primetime matchup. And then, of course, the normal Packers at Bears or Bears at Packers. I think it'd be even more fun if we played the Green Bay in Lambeau Field on primetime, just due to the fact that Caleb Williams' first time playing in Lambeau, he won that final game of the season, so he is undefeated at Lambeau Field. So I think it causes that intrigue. And then, of course, with all this, stuff going on about when, Ben Johnson was just jokingly calling out in his opening press conference when he was introduced as the Bears head coach, just saying, I enjoy beating Matt LaFleur twice a year while I was with Detroit. And then obviously, Matt LaFleur is kind of, I'm not sure, playing the games, and I don't know Ben Johnson. I don't know why he even said that. So kind of causing this, I guess, unnecessary beef, even though there's no beef. But I feel like they're going to use that to their advantage when they're making the schedule. And I think I can definitely see the Packers and Bears being on prime time once again. So those are some of the games I would love to see. And of course, there's other games on the schedule, like maybe going against the Eagles on prime time. Of course, you have the Minnesota Vikings as well. They always find a way to put the Vikings and Bears like on a Monday night football game. So there's definitely a lot of intriguing games as well. So those are some of the games I would love to see on primetime. But once again, who do you want to see the Bears play on primetime this season? Once again, Bears fans, the schedule will be released on May 14th. I'm thinking about going live here on the channel just to, give my quick schedule prediction and reaction to where they place us. But it's definitely a time of year that I enjoy. seeing where the Bears play and the matchups that we have and what parts of the schedule are going to be harder than others. And it's always an interesting time of year. And of course, you have the opportunity to go ahead and buy your tickets if you plan on attending any Bears games this season. So Bears fans, before I go any further and before I close out this podcast today on Keek on the Mic, I also want to talk about some kind of rumors going around social media that have been bothering me. And I've talked about this before on prior episodes right here on the podcast, but we talked about DJ Moore being, a topic of discussion of possibly being traded away from the Chicago Bears. And it really started with when the Bears selected Luther Burden, the wide receiver out of Missouri, which I don't agree with. I understand that last year he kind of showed some attitude concerns and playing nonchalant at times. It seems like he wasn't fully invested in Caleb Williams. Sometimes it looked out of sync. But at the same time, I don't really think that's enough to trade away DJ Moore, especially now with Ben Johnson in the fold. I'm pretty sure Caleb Williams and Moore will continue to grow that chemistry and connection on and off the field. I'm expecting big things from DJ Moore. So it really does bother me when I keep seeing this stuff saying, oh, DJ Moore should be traded. He was literally just extended by Ryan Poles, just last year. I think DJ Moore is a big part of this offense and the future plans of this Bears offense and Bears football team as a whole. And one of, obviously Caleb Williams go-to targets. And I think Ben Johnson, once again, has a big plan for DJ Moore. If Luther Burden comes in and for some reason, outperforms DJ Moore and, Rome Odunze takes that ascent and then Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet play well as well, maybe there could be a, situation where they do trade DJ Moore. But personally, I don't see that being the case. I think DJ Moore's going to have a big year for the Bears. I've also been seeing a lot of chatter about, Cole Kmet possibly being traded as well, just due to, once again, Colston Loveland being, drafted with the round 1 pick 10 in the 2025 NFL draft. And just like DJ Moore, you look at Cole Kmet, literally just extended. He's only 26 years old. He still has 3 years left on his deal with cap hits of $11.6 million in each of these last 3 years. That's money that the Chicago Bears can afford. Ryan Poles loves Cole Kmet. I'm pretty sure just like, with DJ Moore, Ben Johnson has a big plan for Cole Kmet. In 5 years with the Bears, 258 catches, 2,592 yards, 19 total touchdowns. In 2024, kind of had a down year, right? Probably just adjusting to the new quarterback in Caleb Williams. And of course, you look at Shane Waldron and how he didn't really involve Cole Kmet consistently in the game plan. Only had 43 catches for 474 yards and 4 touchdowns. So yes, it was a down year, but you have to kind of excuse him for that, for the simple fact that Shane Waldron didn't really make him a part of the game plan, which is really frustrating as a Bears fan, especially with the skill set that Cole Kmet can really bring to this offense. But then you look at 2023, when he was a part of the game plan. Obviously, this wasn't with Caleb Williams, but when Cole Kmet was included in the game plan, he had big results, 73 catches for 719 yards and 6 touchdowns. So I think now with adding Colston Loveland, I think they're going to feed off each other. I think it's going to elevate Cole Kmet's game. I think he's going to still be a big-time player for Ben Johnson in this offense. I'm expecting the 2023 version of Cole Kmet, and I think that's what Ben Johnson sees as well. So personally, there could be teams out there that would love to take Cole Kmet, probably could land maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick for Kmet at this point. But I want to see him on the Chicago Bears. I think it would be premature to just trade away a pretty good tight end in the National Football League. So Bears fans, with both of these players and DJ Moore or Cole Kmet, do you think Ryan Poles and the Bears should trade him away? Personally, I don't think it's a good idea, but let me know on what you think they should do down below in the comment section. But as always, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for our all new Bears podcast right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic.